It is Saturday night Apex Racing TV, so as per usual, welcome to the Euro V8 Championship sponsored by Pen Power. Sorry, sponsored by KSW Painting, of course, because this is Season 5. I'm Marco Barbanera, Sam Kumo behind the cameras, and of course, a special guest today for us is Chaz Draycott. Hello, Chaz.
Hello, Marco. This is the second one of these I've done. I'm really looking forward to this. These guys were very entertaining last time we saw them at Road America, and now we're at another American circuit, the lovely Laguna Seca. Very popular track on iRacing, of course. And yeah, it's quite an interesting combination, really, isn't it, to see these things around here?
Absolutely. It's going to be tough for these drivers, I think, and it's getting closer and closer to crunch time in the championship, including this one. We have only 4 rounds remaining. In 2 weeks, we're going to have a very special endurance race at Bathurst. Then it's a normal 2 race night at Sebring. And then the grand finale, as always, a triple header. This time, it's going to be Brands Hatch Indy. So 4 very different tracks, and for these drivers, like I said, it's getting closer and closer to crunch time. The standings should be on your screens in just a few seconds, so we can go through them before the end of qualifying. Johnny Brandon leading the way in the overall championship, with Jamie McKnight in 2nd, Tony Klusterman is in 3rd, Chris Jackson in 4th, and Nicole Foggy in 5th, with Wormingham, Bocataire, Woodward, O'Brien and Cracknell running up the top 10. Of course, we have to remember that there is a drop week in effect that will come into effect later when we go to the final round. And of course, we shouldn't forget about the club championship, the gentleman championship, if you will. Richard Wormingham is leading the way with Anthony Woodward in 2nd, Clyde Whiting in 3rd, Michael Frost in 4th, and Peter Bingham in 5th position. Like I said, 2 races tonight. It's going to be very tough for these drivers, especially in the 2nd race, the longer one, with a reverse grid and maybe a pit stop. We don't know. Lot of different strategies in play. But before that, we have to concentrate on the first race, just the shorter race, no pit stop, pedal to the metal from the start of the race to the end. And these cars around this track, the cars, I think they are going to be in a dynamic state a long way, so tire management, even in this shorter race, is going to be crucial.
Yeah, it really is. There's going to be a lot of slipping and sliding around here. A lot of corners are very sort of detrimental exits, as we see Clyde White in there just making a bit of a mess of that. It is very easy to outdo it in these cars, and I think we're going to be seeing a lot of that tonight, especially out the corkscrew as well. It's very difficult in any car to get it hooked up out of there, so these things are, it's going to be a barrel of laughs for them trying to get it down the hill, isn't it?
Yes, we're going to see, I think, a lot of... I watched practice a couple of hours ago. The session, of course, goes on for a long time to get the drivers ready for the race. And I saw a lot of drivers having problems at the corkscrew. It's going to be a tricky corner in the beginning of the race because they are all bunched up together. And later it's going to be tough because, like we said, tire wear and concentration may be starting to drop a little bit. As we see right now, we've got the qualifying session getting closer and closer to the end, with right on leading the way.
Klusterman in 2nd at the moment, and Foggy. It was those 3, Foggy, Brandon, and Klusterman at Road America that were the real sort of fighters near the front of the field, and it's good to see that they're continuing that on through into another round. I mean, just shows the consistency of these sort of guys, doesn't it?
Yes, we saw these guys battle it out basically from the beginning of the championship, and like I always say, it's always nice to see a championship where there are a lot of drivers that on any given race can go and fight for the win. Brandon, Klusterman, Foggy, McKnight, Jackson, I would also include in this group, I think, Wormingham. They are all drivers that are capable of pulling off a race win, not only thanks to the reverse, but also with regular races like this race 1. Of course, the reverse grid is going to provide the usual spice to the second event, with the longer distance, of course, acting as a counterbalance to help maybe the faster drivers that are forced to start at the back due to the reverse wheel. I love this championship. It's always fantastic, and it really shows a nice competition between drivers that really need to get used to the car, and it's nice to see the progress that some drivers are making, like Foggy. In just a couple of seasons, he's sitting there fighting for the championship, and who knows, maybe in next season we're going to see other drivers getting used to the car. I'm thinking about Bomer, Alex Mas. I don't think he's racing tonight. Dominic Soiree getting better and better and fighting for the championship as we are in the final minute of qualifying. And let's spend a word for Adam McNally. I think a driver that Chaz very, very well, very active in the BSR series, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, it is his first outing in a V8 supercar, so at least in this league, so we're going to keep a close eye on him, because it's going always tough, as you see right now, going there for a ride in the sand and driving a Ford, so good choice.
Yeah, he's been on very active, like say, in the BSR series. There is a bit of a running joke that I think he's Scottish, but he is a Geordie, in fact. His accent gives that away. But yeah, he's been doing really well in the BSR TC as well recently. He had a good run recently at Suzuka, and he has said to me earlier tonight that he's not driven this car in quite a while. So he said, don't laugh at him if he crashes. But we can't guarantee anything, I don't think, but I will definitely keep an eye out and see how he's getting on. Obviously, we do commentate on a lot of his racing, so yeah, it's nice to see a different sort of entrance, really, to obviously the very different car to either the MX-5 or the Kia that you'll drive. And well, his talent is to be shown tonight, I suppose. Well, this is going to be a real test for him.
Another new name on the grid, and already doing a good impression, I think, in P7 is the number 34, Jose Caballero, is, I think, a new name as well, if I'm not mistaken. So, good start, P7. And of course, we remind you that this round of the Euro V8 Supercars is brought to you by End Mazda, a proud sponsor of many rounds in this championship. And you can find everything on the internet to the End Mazda website. Thank you very much, End Mazda. Thank you, KSW Paintings. I made a nice start to the broadcast by using the previous season sponsor. So that was a great beginning. But apart from that, I mean, I love this series, and it's good to have these guys on board.
Yeah,
They also help, keep this series. This is a series that is free to join. So all the guys that are interested in running in the V8s in a fantastic league, they can join this league. It's absolutely free. The guys do a fantastic job, and always great racing, as qualifying is almost done. I think no one else is running on the track right now, so we're just waiting for the session to move over so we can go through the starting grid for race 1 of the evening, as we get some fantastic shots from the Laguna Seca area.
It's a very oscillating circuit. There's a lot of challenging corners here, and a lot of it is about momentum. There are so many different corners here that do sort of rely on the momentum from the previous corner to get a good run into it. So it's not one where you can sort of have a lazy lap. You have to be very consistent all the way around, and that's especially with the corkscrew as well. That last section, it's very easy to run out wide down the hill after the corkscrew. I'm pretty sure we'll see some of these guys do that tonight with the tyres going off, and we might see a few people clipping the dirt and spinning the car, as we should have the grid any second now. There we go.
Yes, it's Johnny Brandon on pole position, Tony Klusterman is in second place, Nicole Foggy, Griffin Gardner, another new name, sitting in P4, good start for him, JB McKnight, Chris Jackson, Jose Caballero, we talked about him before, Richard Wormingham, Sergei Glaskov, Alessandro Dalle the Italian guy, few appearances in the past for him, Peter Bingham and Erling Bomer round up the top 12, and then we have Anthony Woodward, Samuel Busin, Katie Taranto, Dominique Soiree, Nikolai Bogatyrev, Ronald Moose, the winner of the Immortal draw the other day, Clyde Whiting, Adam McNally, Richard Dempsey, and rounding up the grid, Michael Frost. Another point of interesting, I think, is going to be those damn red thingies on the inside of the corners in this track. If you hit those with a Formula car, you can say goodbye to your suspension. These cars are a little bit more sturdier, but I think they are always a danger, because they can upset your balance, and it's not recommended to lose time, especially in a short race like this.
Yeah, it is sort of one of them where you have to judge the situation and whether you're going to go and hit one of them or not, I suppose, as we see the cars lining up on the grid now. Then nice selection of paints on this as well. There's some of the liveries are very pretty. Then as the lights are coming on, here we go.
So all the drivers are on the grid, 5 lights, And we are rolling here at Laguna Seca. Johnny Brandon, a good start for him. Klusterman is in second place. And Foggy is in third as they run up to the Andretti Hairpin. Klusterman taking the lead but sliding just a bit. Brandon will have the inside. And cuts the corner, I think, a little bit as Foggy tries to go for P3. Oh, there's already a crash there, I think. It's Jackson getting punted out of the way after speeding in front of the field. And also Taranto is involved. Jackson, one of the favorites, is going to have a lot of positions to climb there. That was not recommended, I think. A spin, and no one could avoid him because it was so tight there.
Certainly was, and I think that's Jose Caballero as well that's got damage. There's a car with the entire rear end missing. There's no wing on it or anything. But it was a real shame there for Jackson. I was looking forward to watching him race again. He was very flamboyant. Oh, it was one of the Simability cars there. Gets a bit of a wobble. I'm not quite sure who it was. I think it would have been it was around. That's sorry. Yep.
The easier driver, yeah.
That's one of the prettiest cars on the grid as well. It's always the pretty ones that get turned around as down the inside there. There was a little sort of dive there. I think it was Woodward and Dempsey. I'm not quite sure. It was.
Yeah, there's a lot of dirt outside of the racing line. Every time these cars go out of the track and then come back, all sort of rubbish gets thrown into the track, basically. As you see Dempsey running, another new guy, I think, running very, very slowly. I think he got a slowdown. It's very easy to get a slowdown at the corkscrew, especially in the first few laps. Yeah. And that was a chaotic first lap as well, Chaz. So these guys need to settle down a bit as the battle for P1. Brandon v. Klusterman, as we've seen many, many times during the years.
Yeah, we certainly have. It was the first battle I saw them go through Road America. In the background as well, Foggy's lost a position to McKnight. Jamie McKnight on really good form again here. Started 5th, he's already up to 3rd. But yeah, that first lap was a bit of a chaotic one compared to last time. And it was actually quite interesting because you saw Klusterman get a bit of a slide on coming into the corner. And then Johnny Brandon did the same, so it's all like they were really struggling on the brakes going into the first corner there. It's just behind them. Griffin Gardner has actually lost a bit of time. That is the 265 car of Anthony Woodward. Really, really in trouble there. The front end's already pretty damaged to that car. Does he clip the dirt? Oh, see, that's how easy it is to do around here. You clip that sand and it'll spin you around. He just keeps it out of the wall, but pretty hefty hit on the right rear, and that alone may upset the car as it goes around. And that thing doesn't look like it wants to behave itself, does it?
No, you were talking about this in the beginning, good catch there, because as soon as he clipped the dirt, and I think also his car was pretty compromised in the ending department, because he's missing the entire front end of the car, and I think these guys have a fast repair, so he might as well use it. It's important that you stay on the lead lap, because you need to be on the lead lap in order to be eligible for the reverse. Ronald Moons defending from Adam McNally as they go for the 3rd time in this race into the Andretti hairpin. Moons seems to have a good line through there, but McNally gets very, very close. It's a very, very tricky hairpin, this one. Double apex almost. It's very easy to misjudge your braking point and drift wide. Pogacar also in a scrap with Whiting, Taranto and Dempsey, trying to get back to speed right behind with Frost sitting in 20th position. Right now, all these guys fighting for positions. Of course, one position more or less could be crucial for the reverse later down the road. Break, and after that, this left-hander that gets you on the rail straight is, I think, the toughest corner on the track, apart from the corkscrew, because if you get it too fast, you end up in the barrier. You get too low, you lose a lot of momentum going into the corkscrew. And of course, if you cut it too much, you get into one of those red thingies on the inside of the corner, which can upset your balance, like we said in the beginning. So a very, very tough complex between that corner and then the corkscrew after that.
It sort of applies as well to the left-hander after the corkscrew, really. If you're coming down the hill there, it is quite easy to hit the big red curb there as well. Just losing it on the brakes there. I think that was just, as he went over the crest there, Michael Frost, it just seemed to upset the rear end, and unfortunately it's just pinballed it into the wall. And hopefully we'll see him back out on track, though. He obviously wants to get it back out and at least get a finish under his name so he can score the points. But up front at the moment, scoring all of the points that you can get, is Johnny Brandon, still ahead of Klusterman. Klusterman's not letting him go away well. And in the background, you've got McKnight and Foggy. They're still battling together. I think Foggy's trying to get back onto back on terms with him at the moment. these XVR guys are pretty much good in every car you put them in. Nickel Foggy obviously recently won the iRacing World GT Championship in the Mercedes for XVR. Josh Thompson, who again, we've seen he's quick in most cars he gets in. It's a great view back though from Brandon at the moment. You can see the chasing Klosterman. It's a very evil looking car. Is that holding? Oh, big slide out of there, brilliantly saved. You can see how quickly he corrected that when he came down the hill. Made it look like just a piece of cake, didn't it? It was a quick little bit of opposite lock, and there you go. You're on your way, Tony.
I mean, for most of the guys, if you have something like that, you end up in the wall. But Tony is a fantastic driver. He was able to save the car and keep the gap with Brandon relatively close. One thing to note is that most of the drivers are complaining, especially with this tire model, that if you get a slide, you are basically going to fight for the rest of the race with your tires because it's very, very tough to get them back to a normal operation, normal condition. So we'll see if Tony is affected by this, because that was a pretty hefty slide he got after the corkscrew. So, but he seems to be able to keep the gap as McKnight and Foggy nose to tail, and they are letting Gardner, I think, back in this battle.
Yeah,
it's going to be a three-way fight for the podium, it seems.
He seemed to be right up behind Foggy at the beginning of the lap, and then a couple of corners in, he lost a lot of ground. So he's made it back up. I mean, it doesn't look like Foggy and McKnight have been battling that intensely. I mean, I saw Foggy put his nose down the inside going into the last corner last time around, but he thought better of it, ducked out. So it must just be really good pace at the moment by Griffin Gardner. He's certainly doing a fine job in sticking with them. And Foggy's just, you can tell he's just that bit quicker than McKnight round here. He just wants to get through, but he's not the sort to take risks on manoeuvres, is Nickel Foggy.
Brandon lost a lot of ground and is falling into the clutches of McKnight, Foggy and Gardner, so something must have gone wrong, I think, at the corkscrew. Maybe a slowdown, maybe a mistake, because getting into the corkscrew, Brandon was extremely close with Klosterman, so of course he was in the lead, so something must have happened there.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what it was. Hopefully we'll be able to have a look back in a sec, but Klosterman then, he's nice and clear at the moment. He's got nearly a 2-second lead over Brandon, and no matter who you are, it's going to be difficult to get that back, to get that gap back down. Foggy's still stuck to the back of McKnight there. The only problem is with this car that it is very easy to overdo it, and to be fair, if you're in a battle and you're trying to chase someone, you want to get on the throttle that little bit earlier, and it's so easy to just get it wrong and put a bit too much throttle on. As we look, get a nice close-up view there of the back of McKnight's car. You can see that beautifully shaped wing and very elegant rear end of that Ford Falcon. It's a really good-looking bit of kit, to be fair. But it just shows you how little bodywork there is on the back of them. It is just a massive amount of aero, and well, obviously you want to keep that rear end light and off the ground. But with them being rear-wheel drive, it's probably part of the reason why they're so lively, isn't it?
Yeah, a lot of lockups I'm seeing from these drivers. So they are driving, I think, on the edge. It's 16 laps, but 16 very, very tough laps for them as they finish lap number 6 and start lap number 7. So getting closer and closer to the halfway point of the race. We'll see if Brandon is able to respond. This lap 24.7, 24.9 for the chasing pack, except for Gardiner, he's got a 24. Oh, and there's a Bingham in the I always want to say in the grass, but there is no grass around here. So in the gravel, sand. Let's see the replay into the final corner, and I think a little bit of help.
Yeah. That was the number 34 car, I think, was it? Yes, it was Jose Caballero. Just giving him a bit of a nudge. He seemed to be just bunched up, really. It doesn't seem like it was an aggressive move, but Caballero, no rear wing on that car, though, so fair play to him for still getting it going. Seems to have had a pretty hefty hit somewhere, not quite sure when. Might have been from the... Actually, he was the one from the very beginning, wasn't he, that lost the rear end on that?
Yeah, hopefully when iRacing gets the new damage model in, I mean, these cars don't lose the entire rear end, because if that chunk that is missing, if it gets on the racing line, it could be basically like having a sofa on the racing line. It's so huge. Yeah. So hopefully they come up with something, because it would be very, very dangerous.
Well, if you've not seen it, you need to have a look at the damage model video that they made about the skip barber, where there's now detachable parts. They've changed the the structure of the cars and the contact points as you would. So rather than be a load of circles now, they've basically modelled the actual sort of contact surface of the car where it detects it's hit something to be the exact shape now, putting a lot of effort into it. So hopefully when it's rolled out on all cars and the body panels have their own physics for coming off and so on, it'll be absolutely brilliant, won't it? As we look at Erling Bowman now, who's actually made a really good impression on me in the he had his first, I think it was his first meeting in the series actually at Road America. Last time I commentated on these, and he's doing really well again. He's still in the top 10, chasing down Boozin at the moment.
Yeah, he's one of the new guys, and he impressed me a lot as well. So it's one of those guys I'm keeping an eye on for the future. So he is using this final part of the season, and he goes for a move on Boozin, but Boozin is able to close the door. He can use this final part of the season to get some experience, and then next season he could, aim even higher. Because, like I said, I mean, Nicole Foggy is an extraordinary talent. Oh no, that was a jinx. I'm sorry, Erling. That was bad on my part.
That was the commentator's curse at its very strongest, ladies and gentlemen. Real shame for Bowman, but he's shown really good pace in this car, and it's not an easy car to pick up. You can't just sort of jump in it and drive it straight away. I still can't drive it to this day, and I've given it a good few goes. So it shows that he's got a good level of skill in it, and hopefully once he's back up to pace, he scrub the dirt off his tyres, he can get past Bogatire over there in front of him, and then hopefully climb back into the top 10. But he's not got long to do it now. We're over halfway through the race. But Caballero, great first. Oh, that was someone off there, and that was McNally.
Yeah.
He's gone off that far. It says he's in the pit lane. He's getting it turned back around.
Oh.
And he'll bring it back on. Hopefully not onto the racing line, but he'd have to go all the way across, and there he is. Got going again. He's just got to be careful about having dirt on his tyres now. As this battle's still going on.
Going on, I mean, basically since the beginning of the race, McKnight, Foggy and Gardner, as Brandon has been able to create once again a little bit of a gap, so he's able to escape from these guys, but McKnight hasn't been able to clear, and Foggy, see, trying to make himself big in the mirrors of the car in front of him, trying to set up a move, but it's not going to be easy, and he also has to watch in his mirrors as well, because Gardner is looking very, very racy, trying to get what will be I mean, already now it's a fantastic performance for him, but I think if he would be able to get on the podium, that would be a fantastic result for a driver that I think I'm pretty confident it is his first meeting in the championship. So I don't know if he races the V8s in other series, but he really looks comfortable in the car, so good for him. As maybe now Foggy, no, it's a little bit too far away, but this hairpin Chaz, I think it's going to be one of the places where he can make it work.
Yeah, certainly. He's been a lot more sort of confident on the brakes by the look of it, and you can just tell by his driving style, he's not making it very sort of flamboyant or all over the place. He's got the turn in though on McKnight. McKnight seems to prefer later turn in, but then look at the run he's got. There seems to be two very different approaches to the corners. Like Foggy turns in a bit earlier, you see there, even gets a bit more lock on to keep it. McKnight gets the fishtail in a little bit out of the corner, but he's just doing enough at the moment, is Jamie, and it's going to be difficult to pass around here. These are quite big cars. When you're in something like an MX-5 or even a Star Mazda around here, then it's okay, but if you're in something like this, then yeah, it's going to be difficult. Foggy shows his nose just to threaten it a little bit, but it's going to slow him down on the exit, I imagine, and yeah, it certainly does a little bit of opposite lock to save it there. Nice reactions. You can just see through every corner, he's just got the pace slightly on McKnight, but he gets just a better exit, so it's very balanced by these guys at the moment. But I'm thinking now, really, Foggy's just going to have to he's going to have to just try something else. He's going to have to be a bit more gutsy and just risk a move, I think.
You know, it seems, and I don't know if it's just this lap or all the previous laps as well, but it seems like in this final part of the track, McKnight is able to get a little bit of a gap, and he's able to carry that gap and defend into the hairpin. Big lock up there for Brandon, by the way. So, I mean, Brandon must be on the limit with his tires. Look at that, another lockup. He must have made a pretty big mistake there when he lost the leadership, because Klusterman has been able to pull away, and if he had something like a spin or a very big lockup or a run in the gravel, then I think his tires are pretty much destroyed, and that is going to be key in the second race, because if you want to do one of the crazy strategies that have been talked about between the drivers, you really need to take care of your tires. As I think a slowdown there for McKnight, and
Oh no!
oh,
Not
bad
what
crash.
Yeah, I think I'm not really sure how to call that one, but if I'm honest with you, it looked like Gardner was just going straight. I'm not sure whether McKnight came across him there, but you can tell he's frustrated because he hasn't held the brakes. He just got a bad run, didn't he?
Yeah, I thought it was a slowdown, and yeah, Gardner stuck his nose, and I think he should have been a little bit more patient there, because there was no way to go there for himself and McKnight, and for McKnight a disaster. He has to go back to the pits, so he's going to lose, well, not only the podium, but also I think the chance at a good reverse, because he's going to be stuck several laps down.
Yeah. Certainly will. I personally, I feel that McKnight came across on him a little bit there, I will say it. Gardner did go up the inside, which it is a bit risky to go and try it, but at the end of the day I think he just had the run on him, and McKnight just didn't check it. He probably just didn't think that he was that far alongside, and just came across to try and get behind Foggy, and yeah, unfortunately ended up in a massive incident, really big hit, but Gardner got quite lucky then. He's got very minimal damage on the car, if any, actually. It doesn't look like that front end's that bothered, as he gets a proper little moment on air up the hill. But 4th place in his first race then. It has been confirmed in the YouTube chat that this is his first race, so great effort so far from Griffin Gardner. It's good to see that he's getting on with the car so well, and so I mean, I'm not sure how much he's raced to this car before, but to be chasing someone down like Nickel Foggy and be on the same pace as him is brilliant.
Absolutely. So he can be very, very proud of this debut. Of course, accidents can happen. That was a very tricky situation. As we are getting closer and closer to the end of the race, with Klusterman starting lap 13 just right now, with Brandon, Foggy, Gardner, Wormingham in the top 5. Here it is, a race leader coming into the Andretti hairpin. And since that mistake from Brandon, he's been having a smooth sailing. 25.3 for Brandon, almost 1 second slower than Klusterman. So good moments for Tony. He's cruising towards a race win.
Yeah, he's doing a fine job, isn't he? He's just, like you say, plain sailing at the moment. He's just got away, not put a foot wrong. He's got no incident points as well for the whole race, so he's not even been off track yet, so just shows you how well he's doing. Johnny Brandon is still second, but it's like 5 seconds down now, and to pull that gap that quickly is a miracle. But we've seen Johnny trying really hard. He's been locking up, he's been sliding the car on exit. His teammate Nickel Foggy's just been able to close him down a little bit. But yeah, once again, Gardner, really good job. And Richard Wormingham is also an XVR car. He's the highest in the, I'm not sure of the name of the yellow class, I cannot remember it. But he's the highest in that class at the moment, with Sergei Glaskov behind him. And then Samuel Buzin's actually the highest mover in the race so far, up 7 places from 14th on the grid to 7th. That's a really good result for him. And he's got Jose Caballero behind him, still with no rear end, and he's actually catching him. He's doing a great job so far, is Jose.
Yeah, great performance, and he's, I think, going for a move on the rainy corner. They are side by side. They have to be careful because they have a car behind them. He's not very close, the number 061 Daledonne, but if they have too much of a battle, he might come back into this with 3 laps to go. Let's see, I think Caballero. I was just about to say that it seems he gets a good run, and instead he spins. So commentators curse once again, and a couple of positions are going to be lost. I think a third as well, because Bomber is coming with, of course, a better run. They are side by side into the corner. Andretti hairpin. It seems like Caballero is able to hold on to the position. Bomber will have the right line into the next corner. A little bit of a dive there, but then very respectfully he pulls out of the move, and Caballero is able to keep the top 10 for now.
Yeah, only just as well though. It was really good defending from him. It was just putting the car in the right place at the right time, and he certainly did that. But Boma though, making a decent comeback at the moment. He obviously passed Bogatira. McKnight going out also helps him gain a position, so he's nearly into the top 10. I'm sure that he'll be happy with that as well, as we see Nickel Foggy now under pressure from Griffin Gardner. 2 laps to go then, as we come onto the 15th lap of 16. this is going to be important for Nickel to hold on here. But it's really, once again, to judge to revisit it. We keep saying it, but what a performance this has been by Gardner. He's really taken him by storm here. A bit later on the brakes than Foggy, but he's going to have the momentum around the outside. Brandon with another lock-up in front. Gardner's going to try and get the cut back, but really respectfully gets out of that. That could have been a nasty little turnaround there for Foggy, but still holding the podium position. Bit of curb there on the inside for Gardner, but he's doing a really good job of sticking with him, isn't he?
Fantastic job. I'm expecting. I mean, it's also the moment in the season when these guys are thinking about the championship. But guys like Gardner, the new guys that have just joined, they don't care about the championship. They are going for podium spots, race wins. So they are not. I wouldn't say careful, but they are not as careful, but not in a bad way. You know what I mean? They are just going for it. So we're going to see different strategies, I think, between Foggy and Gardner. Foggy can afford. I mean, you never want to lose a position, but it's better than getting into a crash or something like that. So we'll see if he defends hard. Oh, of course, Foggy sees Brandon in front of him, his teammates, so that's another valuable position with valuable points. There's not a lot of time left because the white flag should be coming out quite soon. Here she comes. So final lap of the race, Klusterman, Brandon, Foggy, Gardner and Wormingham, the top 5, with Klusterman looking good for the win, Brandon looking good for second place, under pressure from Foggy and Gardner, so these 3 guys will battle it out for the final podium position.
Yeah, I don't think that Gardner's really close enough now to make a move this lap unless Foggy makes a mistake. We know that that's not very, doesn't happen very often. He did have a nasty accident in the BSRTC on Thursday night. I didn't actually end up asking him what happened there because it seemed like there was just a brake pedal failure or something. The car just went straight on at the final chicane at Suzuka, really heavy into the wall. But yeah, I think these XVR guys have got second and third locked up at the moment personally. Doing a great job as always, in 2 different cars as well, so nice to see the love being spread between the Holden and the Ford. I'm sure that'd probably trigger a few Australians. But Brandon really is locking it up as we see Gardner go off there. But yeah, Brandon really locking it up into pretty much every corner. I'm not sure whether he's having issues with the brakes on that Ford tonight or whether he just doesn't like the front tyres. But another one there. That might be the reason that he's not been able to catch up with Klosterman. He might be having an issue with it. But he's got Foggy right with him now. You can see how much of a difference it makes just over the course of 1 lap. But into the final corner then. It's Tony Klosterman and he's going to take the first win of the evening. Beautiful drive, just really clean and, well, it was just very consistent, wasn't it, Marco?
Fantastic race. Tony wins it, and he wins it by being fast and consistent. Good win for Tony. Brandon is second, Foggy is third. Gardner in 4th position, and I think Wormingham is going to come and take 5th place and the victory, of course, in the club championship with his position 5. Here he comes. Then Caballero trying to get a move on Bingham, who has not a very good exit there. Caballero on the inside, Bingham on the outside. They are side by side. Maybe Bingham will have a better run. Caballero is in front right now. This is going to be extremely close. Caballero gets him, and he gets a fantastic P9 on his debut. So congratulations to him. Bingham is one of the veterans of the series, so not an easy task to finish in front of him. Here comes Soiree with Whiting right behind him. This is P15 and P16, and Woodward, you see him in the background in P17. I think Frost is the last guy that we are missing. Oh, no, that was Frost, I'm sorry. So Woodward is still missing. He should be somewhere on the track. Here he comes. Gets P17 in the end. Of course, problems for him early in the race. And that was race 1 from Laguna Seca then. And honestly, I can't wait for race 2, which is going to be, like I said, longer. Maybe a pit stop, maybe not. Maybe you change tires, maybe not. And these guys are in for a very tough task in making these tires last if they want to get the full advantage of not pitting, or maybe pitting but without changing the tires, as the race results should be on your screen in just a few seconds. And here they are. So Tony Klusterman is the race winner, 5 seconds over Johnny Brandon and Nicole Foggy to complete the podium. Griffin Gardner, Richard Wormingham 4th and 5th, and Glasgow, Busin, Dalledonne in P8, Caballero in P9 and Bingham in 10th position. Then Bogatairev, Moons and Bomer, McNally and Soiree round out the top 15, Whiting, Woodward and Taranto. And after that, the final positions are occupied by Frost, and then the drivers who had problems, McKnight, Dempsey, and Jackson. These three guys sadly didn't finish the race. And now I think, Chaz, it's time for the reverse wheel with Sam Kumo.
Thanks, Marco. And the wheels up on the screen right now, so without further ado, let's just spin it and see what we get.
Okay, see if anyone that fell down the order will benefit from the reverse grid on this one. Usually does happen quite often in BSR, so we'll see what we got.
And it is 8.
Okay, so very small one then. It's actually Alessandro Dalladone that's going to be on pole position with Samuel Booz in second, Sergei Glaskov, Richard Warmingham, and then it's the front four that we saw in that race: Gardner, Foggy, Brandon and Klusterman. So the guys missing out really there are newcomers Cavallero and Peter Bingham. Peter obviously had a bit of a spin earlier on, so it makes you wonder if he didn't have that accident, would he have had the reverse grid? But it'll be very interesting to see, with the longer race then, how quickly the other guys can get through, if they can, because it's very tough to pass around here in these cars.
Yes, absolutely. So we are going to a little bit of a commercial break, and in 10 to 15 minutes we will be back for the second race for the Laguna Seca round of the KSW Painting Euro V8 Championship.
Hi there, I'm Richard Jobling, Senior Software Engineer here at iRacing. I'd like to show you some of the work that we've been doing to improve the collision and the damage in our sim. One of the major changes we've made is how our collision systems work. The old system stored the track as parametric surfaces, and the cars were made of collections of spheres. As the cars moved around the track, we would recompute planes using the track surfaces, and then test those against the spheres. This worked well for spheres, but was too specialized to adapt to our shapes. So for the new system, we've built new high-resolution meshes for each track. This is more efficient and gives us a lot more flexibility for the car shapes. The new mesh incorporates all the track features our guys work so hard to replicate. Things like curb geometry and changes in the surface material are all baked into the mesh. We've also taken our laser scan data and applied that to the mesh. And since the mesh is so high resolution, we capture all the detail that's necessary so that the tracks are just like the real thing. With our new mesh, we can now represent cars using smooth, convex hulls, which grouped together form the chassis, the bodywork, and all the other parts of the car. The new shapes are a much closer fit to the shape of the real car. During impacts, the shapes can deform according to the damage, and eventually they can break off as separate objects. All the parts, like wings, hoods, and wheels, can also hang from their joints, flapping and vibrating until they eventually snap off. All these changes are going to add a whole new level of realism to our races. If you want to find out more, please visit iRacing.com and check out my blog post for lots more details.
Hi, my name is Greg Hill. I'm the Vice President of Art and Production here at iRacing. This damage project that we've been discussing is certainly a project that involved all hands on deck to pull off. We've got a rather sizable number of cars in our portfolio, and not all of these cars have been built with this dynamic damage system in mind. So what we had to do is one by one go through our race cars, and we had a team of 3 artists, a highly technical modeler, our technical art director, and our associate art director. All took on each car one at a time, and the work involved was researching that car, researching what would happen to that car if it were in a crash, depending on the forces involved in the crash, how severely it would be damaged, what parts might come off, what those pieces might look like when they're removed, what it would look like where the car has areas exposed that were previously covered by bodywork. So they had to do a lot of modeling to each race car, and they had to do a lot of work to essentially set up how the car would react to forces. So essentially setting the strength of the materials. What kind of force would it take to rip off the side pod, for example? Or under what circumstances would this nose cone get ripped off of a car, or under which would it remain, but just be badly damaged. But all said, it's been a lot of work, but seeing the car models interact with the physics system and the new crash dynamics is really exciting and really cool to see, and definitely makes all that hard work worth it.
Hi, my name is Jose Diaz. I'm a visual effects artist at iRacing. I specialize in particle effects ranging from fireworks to water fountains, debris, crash, impacts, all in the service of improving the driving experience. So you have the main sort of new damage model that Richard's been working on. So that takes into consideration all the mounts and the chassis from the cars and which materials they are. And he's making all the calculations that tell you like, okay, it got hit from this one side and the strength of that impact is this certain amount of values. If you hit something, that means that this mount gets off, something breaks. This gets added on top of that to sort of complement what is happening there with things that you would see in real life when a car crashes. So typically in a car crash, you will see all these little particles of dust, metal, scratches that will take all that force and momentum and kind of explode in a way. And it's all being driven by how fast the car was coming, how hard the impact was against what. That will give you that sense of like, man, that person really crashed hard, or oh, it was just a small bump.
Hi, my name is Chris Lurch. I'm one of the vehicle dynamicists here at iRacing. Our role in the collision project is to tune the collision properties of each and every car to ensure that they behave and wrecks as a real car would. And we've spent quite a bit of time going through literature from the automotive industry on the subject to make sure that we have panels that deform the way they're supposed to, both temporarily and permanently, that pieces that don't deform but rather just break at appropriate times in appropriate ways. The cars are absorbing energy the way they should and aren't sort of bouncing off the walls in crazy ways. The major properties that we look at are stiffnesses, which is how much a piece of the car deforms when a load is applied to it. And then we look at a couple of limits. One is the force limit beyond which the piece deforms permanently. And then the second limit that we look at is the brake limit, the force limit beyond which the piece will simply break. And then we also will look at damping, which is how much the piece absorbs energy versus how much it takes like a spring and can absorb as potential energy and then rebound back out like a basketball would.
The most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic real world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $100,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing. Team racing allows multiple iRacing members to team up and race together, just like in real-world endurance series. Teammates can share driving duties, spot for one another, or be a crew chief. Team racing is free, both to join a team and to create one. Each teammate races on his or her own computer from wherever they want to. Your teammates can be anywhere in the world, and changing drivers mid-race is as easy as a click of a button. iRacing features team endurance events ranging from just a couple of hours to 24 hours in length. So, if you fancy taking part in an iRacing endurance race in the future, you can learn more about team racing on the teams page on the member website.
And Michael Tucker will be free to put down his foot whenever he feels like it. And we can now see them roaring through the final corner. And here we go. Race 1 of the evening is underway. Michael Tucker hasn't got an awesome start, and Jamie Ayres, if he wants to win this race, he's got to put some pressure on him going into turn 1. Tucker, though, covers the inside, and Ayres struggles to mount an attack, maybe into turn 2. He can have a chance, but just running a little bit wide as Jamie Ayres, and all of a sudden he's just dropped back a tenth or so. He's still looking to the inside, but he cannot make the move.
Always a good pace, is improving quite significantly in the last few rounds we've seen him in, and it's good to see him on P3, and Robinson is in the gravel there. Not so right, he's keeping it close. Oh, Clark is taken in the fence. Bad crash there.
Teddy Clark.
Yeah, also Underhill, I think, went into the gravel. Let's see, it might be two separate crashes. We got it on the back end of the camera shot, yeah. Oh no! Oh, that's what happened there. You know, beginning of the race I thought that Kallinan had pace to attack. Oh, no. Spin for Jacobson there.
Michael Tucker, though, is coming around the final few corners right now, and he is going to a pace car just coming around the final corner. Robinson can go when he chooses. It's Robinson from the pole position. Malcolm in second. Boy, does this matter in the AM Championship, and the overall championship is not decided at all as well. As Robinson pulls away. Brilliant start as well for Max Wright. He's already on the inside of Scott Malcolm, so that should be a simple move up in second place, but Malcolm thinks otherwise. He's going to hang it round the outside into turn 1, and going into Druids, the second and third place drivers are side by side. Max Wright trying to go down the inside, but Malcolm has done brilliantly to fend off him, although he is still a little bit wide. Josh Thompson has had a bit of a spin in the background, but still Malcolm is having to defend. It's Jamie Ayres running in 4th position, gaining a position on Rafe Cannon, with Michael Abdoka so far unable to make a move, but here comes Jamie Ayres, and he's going to have a move on Max Wright. So Max Wright, Marco, challenging for 2nd position, and look at this, he may drop down even into 6th position now.
Yeah, and we have a huge mid-pack with 4 cars, Ayres, Wright, Kallinan, Evdoka, all coming for the same pace over the state, and Kallinan saves the car. Kallinan is trying to close the gap. Let's see the replay of the move here. Very brave.
Nice move.
Wow, that was very brave from Jamie Ayres.
Quite sure what his pace is like, but his racecraft is so strong, he may stand a chance. Michael Abdoka is down the inside of Max Wright, and if he can just push out right here, he can't really do so because he took he wasn't comfortable with that line, but he has now pulled ahead, and I doubt Wright is going to be able to fight back into this next corner. Not much of a big concern, and Evdoka moves up into the top 4.
Scott Malcolm will defend hard but fair as usual. Now on the inside, Evdoka, good run in the first corner, side by side. Man, they are extremely close. There's nothing in it. Evdoka will have the inside on Druids. Let's see. Can he complete the pass? He can. Nice move by Michael Evdoka there.
Evdoka can go chase down the top 2. You can see Josh Thompson just behind these two drivers, and actually Jamie S has taken the lead of Colin Robinson. So I saw the gap was close. Here comes Max Wright though, round the outside of Scott Malcolm. This would be an awesome move, but he is off the circuit and he's going to lose a position to Josh Thompson. It could have been a whole lot worse than that. So he lost the position to Ray Cullinan there.
Here comes the replay, going into Druids. Mistake from Robinson, I think. We went a bit wide. Ayers didn't need a second invitation and made the move quite easily.
And Malcolm, he's really been faultless so far today, and as we see Evdoka already make the move on Colin Robinson. It is ever so close between Colin and Malcolm, and this final corner is where Malcolm particularly struggles, at least what I've seen, and he's trying to go for the move is Rafe Kana. They're both wide, and the driver who's going to profit from this is of course Josh Thompson. He's already made one move on Rafe Kana. Max Wright trying to get involved, and he's going to go to the inside. It's 3 wide going into turn 1 here at Brands Hatch. This is fantastic racing, and Josh Thompson has made that move. Max Wright was smart just to back out, and he is going to try to come back though. It's Rafe Kana trying to get the cut back, but Max Wright profiting from this, and there's contact amongst all 3 of them. Wright still going for the move, but eventually Thompson makes the mistake, and Cullinan only loses the 1 position.
And now we see the replay of what happened here. Scott Malcolm. So Cullinan went through at Druids, then right. Ooh, he lost the car, didn't hit the barriers, so he is okay, but of course, position lost there to Max Wright for Scott Malcolm.
He's going to probably have to look for an alternative overtaking spot. Michael Evdoka, maybe a bit of a surprise take into this one, but again, Ayers is very deep on the brakes. It does take us a slightly wide line. That might be a chance for Evdoka, but down here, as long as you just cover the inside line, there's not a whole lot the other driver can do. But Evdoka is going to go for the inside line here, and Ayers has not covered it off, and this could cost him the race lead here. Jamie Ayers round the outside of Michael Evdoka. Evdoka has got the inside for the next one, and he failed to cover off the opportunity for Evdoka, and Evdoka is round, and he's going to be in the wall, and the championship leader is in all kinds of trouble now.
Ayers is waiting for him, but the damage is done, I think, because Evdoka's car is completely smashed on the front right. Let's see the replay. That was a hard hit for Evdoka. I think he will have to stop for repairs.
So just a really poor lap, seemingly, this from Rafe Cullinan, and it has allowed Max Wright to close right up onto the back of him, and down the inside will go the Mercedes. We've seen the outside line from Scott Malcolm working several times today, and it's worked brilliantly for Rafe Cullinan this time, but he has not got this move covered. Still down the inside is Max Wright, but hanging around the outside is the BMW driver, and he's going to have the inside for Graham Hill Bend. Still side by side those between these 2 drivers, and actually a much better exit for Max Wright. And this time there's no response from Rafe Cullinan. Max Wright moves up into 4th position. Now only 1 more corner for Michael Evdoka to tackle. He's already got 1 triple this season at Phillip Island, and it looks as though he's building up to 1 today as well. He's a little bit wide though, and Jamie Ayers might stand a chance here as they race to the line. The team Mercedes, who is going to win this one? It's Jamie Ayers.
Jamie Ayers is the winner.
I cannot believe it. Just as I was speaking up to Michael Evdoka, perhaps lining up another triple today, it is Jamie Ayers who has stolen the race victory by just 0.5 of a second. He will start on pole position for race 3. Jamie Ayers leading the cars around, again dropping back as we've seen a lot of today, and he will now put his foot down And Michael Abducker in second position, consolidates that second position, and can he mount an attack on Jamie Ez going into turn 1? It doesn't seem like he is going to be able to, although he is into the slipstream. Ez has got to be watching his mirrors down into turn 1 and down into Druids as well. Ez a little bit deeper on the brakes. Abducker, nice run through turn 1, and he might stand a chance for 2. Ez has got to go defensive here, but he's very late to defend, and Abducker nearly had a chance down the inside.
Evdoka was on the timing screen. Oh, look at that! Oh!
He seemed to have decent pace, and I think he would have kind of got quicker and quicker as the race went on. Michael Abducker is down the inside in turn 2 against Jamie Ez, but Ez has got the ideal line down into Graham Hill Bend, and he's held on to that P1 position, but he has not fended off the inside line. Once again, he's trying to almost squeeze Abducker on the inside, but Abducker will go around the outside, and he might even try to push out his opponent. They are side by side now, heading into the next quick right-hander, and they are side by side down the bridge as well. It's fantastic battling between these two, and Abducker is round the outside, and he's surely going to make this mistake. Yes, he is. Jamie Ez with no answer to that overtake from Michael Abducker. He just carried the speed round the outside, and he has taken the lead, Marco.
What happened to Anthony Jacobson? Oh, thanks Lapper. Oh, bad crash.
And he just carried a little bit too much speed. No, he clipped the grass on the entry, and that was how he lost the car there. He will not want to finish last of the runners, and I must say right now it doesn't look like he will do.
Yeah, I'm a bit concerned because Malcolm and Andri had extremely short stops compared to the other drivers, so as Dimmer gets by, so we'll have to keep an eye on. Back live from Laguna Seca, it's the KSW Painting Euro V8 Supercar Championship sponsored this round by End Mazda, and of course you have to know that you can find two End Mazda dealerships in Sydney, so if you want to buy a new Mazda and you are in the Sydney area, go to End Mazda and find all the best deals on your new car. Marco Barbanera, Chas Dracot, Sam Kumo behind the cameras. So, race 2, twice the distance, twice the fun, I think, Chaz.
Yeah, it certainly will be. We saw a good couple of battles in that last one. Tyre sort of management in the last one seemed to be difficult for a few of them. Not quite sure how hot it is out there. Just missed it as it came up on the screen, I won't lie to you. But it's going to be detrimental to this race. We saw that Johnny Brandon was struggling towards the end of the last one. After just a few lockups, it just seemed to get worse and worse for him, and he fell into the clutches of Nickel Foggy. So with the reverse grid, they want to be pushing like mad, but I don't think that they're going to go for that straight away, and it'll be interesting to see what people do strategy-wise in terms of pit stops, of course.
Here's the race grid then. Dalledon in pole position, Busin, Glasgow, Wormingham and Gardner in the top 5, Foggy, Brandon, Klusterman, Caballero and Bingham in the next 5 guys. Bogatairev, Moons, 11th and 12th position. Then we have Bomer, McNally, Soiree in the top 15, Whiting, Woodward, Taranto, Frost, McKnight in P20, of course a crash in race 1. And Chris Jackson is having hardware issues. Hopefully he can take the green flag coming momentarily, as we are just a few seconds away and the cars are starting to grid. So, interesting race to come. Maybe with a pit stop, maybe not. Tons of different strategies that these guys can do to get a good result. As the lights are on and then off, and we are racing for race 2 at Laguna Seca, Euro V8 Championship, Apex Racing TV, Gustavo Dalledon, Bessa from Busin, then you see Gardner, Wormingham, also Glasgow. Oh, there's a little bit of a contact there.
Oh no, one of the XPL cars. Is that Wormingham? How they didn't end up in a bigger accident there, I do not know. It seems to be a bit of netcode down the straight, to be fair. And then Wormingham obviously getting a slowdown for that in turn 1, but there's one of the NQR cars out of shape there. Can hear contact as well. Bohm is gone. Bohm has gone down the order.
Yes. We have had, I think, 3 or 4 very, very close calls, no major crashes. Oh, and that is, I think, Glaskov. Glaskov in the barrier, and also I think Whiting, yeah, is facing the wrong direction. As you see now, battling side by side, that is Busin with Foggy going down the run to the rail straight, and of course the corkscrew with Foggy being in front of Busin right now as they get to this very, very important corner. So lap 1 of 32, like I said, there were 3 or 4 very close calls, and it could have been a big one in all of them. Some drivers are, of course, already out of the race, but it could have been a lot worse, I think.
Yeah, they could have brought other people with them in those incidents. It's Roald Moons and Erling Bowman that are down at the bottom of the field, unfortunately now. Real shame for Erling as well. We were just saying in race 1 how well he's been doing. If you look at Jamie McKnight now, he is following. Well, there's a very damaged NQR car. That's Peter Bingham. Not sure whether he might have been involved there, because I think it was Clyde Whiting was the other NQR car that got taken off. You can see him in the pit lane in the background. Sorry, that's Anthony Woodward coming in the pit. Sorry, not Clyde Whiting. I apologise. But not much left of the front end. There's Jamie McKnight then down the inside of Bogotyrev. Warmingham's going to try and go with him as well. They're going to be side by side out of turn 1, but Johnny Brandon and Kluseman and Foggy are already up to 3rd, 4th and 5th after 1 lap, and they've got 31 including this one to go, so you've got to think that surely one of them guys might have to look for a win.
Yeah, Gardner sitting in P2 as well, Daledon in first. Basically, the only guy who's been able to keep out of trouble has been Daledon, but you see he's under pressure from Gardner already. So the small reverse playing in favor of the faster guys, as I think Gardner will go for a move to very, very tough drivers. And Daledon has to yield, of course, the leadership of the race. Gardner is a lead, but look at Daledon going very, very deep into the corner, running side by side through Rainy. But Gardner makes it stick, fantastic move. Daledon goes very aggressive. I think you risk getting a slowdown if you cut that much of the corner, but now I think Italian driver has to watch in his mirrors, because Brandon, Klusterman and Foggy are coming and they want to get the move done. Oh, see a little bit of a bump there from Brandon, and trying to move Daledon out of the way, I think, side by side on the straight. These guys don't want to let Gardner run away with the lead of the race, I think.
Definitely not, and Brandon showing that as well with the fastest lap of the race, 1:23.4, 1.1 seconds quicker than Gardner there, as Daledon goes straight on at turn 1 pretty much. He went really wide there. I think he might have been given a bit of contact in that one, either that or he might...
I think a slowdown. I think he cut the inside curb at Rainy by a mile, so I think it's one of those early race slowdowns. You can really be punished down to P7. So just like in race 1, it's Gardner, Brandon, Klusterman and Foggy fighting for the race win, using Cavallero, Daledon and McNally in this second pack.
Down the inside of Caballero there as well, really nice move. Gets it done, so he's straight back on the horse and trying to make progress again, which is good to see. I'm sure you'll be happy with that one as well, Marco. But Busin is his next target then in 5th, but he's got to be wary of Caballero behind him, because he had a really good first race.
Yes, very good race by Caballero, and he's looking racy. I mean, he had a lot of damage in that first race, but still was able to finish in the top 10, so that was a good result, and he is not willing to stay behind Daledon. I think he's already looking for a move in the final part of the lap, as lap 4 is about to start. We are seeing a big number of lockups in the second race as well, as Bogotyrev and Bingham are going at it into the final corner with Taranto right behind them. This is the battle for P12, so Jackson is in P11. Good for him, because he started from the back of the pack, and like I said, between race 1 and race 2 he reported to us that he had some very big hardware issues, so hopefully he can finish the race without any surprises. Of course, if you remember, in race 1 he spun out of the hairpin, I don't know if on his own or helped by someone, and basically he was a sitting duck and he was hit by 3-4 different cars, so that was already the end of his race, and he was starting from a good position. He's got a bit of damage, but you have to remember, these guys get a fast repair, so when you do your mandatory not mandatory, your pit stop, if you do the pit stop, because like we said, and a problem from Busin, facing the wrong way at rail straight, which is not a straight, bringing all sort of dirty stuff on the track as well, as you see that pile of dirt that is basically there after his problem. He gets passed by a lot of cars, including his teammates, and falls down to P15.
real shame there for boozing as well. He was up doing a good job. I was just about to say as well how pretty that car is. I think it's probably the prettiest car in the grid in my eyes, that ACA racing car. Really good looking bit of kit, nice simple livery as well. And it's a very pretty logo as well actually. It flows very nicely with the shape of the car, doesn't it?
Absolutely. It's really good looking. It's one of my favorite cars as well. Too bad that due to, you know, Alessandro Delle not deciding to race until like 1 hour ago, we couldn't get the livery for him approved, because it is a masterful piece of modern art. It's so bad that it's so good. Hopefully in the next round at Pathos you will be able to catch a glimpse of that masterpiece. But back to the racing with Taranto, Bingham, Soiree locking the brakes. Look at that Soiree sliding a bit again, and he's able to get past Bingham. Once again we said, it's good, it's a good thing. It's better if you are able to manage your tires. These guys are not listening to this advice, because we are already seeing brake locks, cars sideways, run in the grass, sorry, in the gravel, pins. It's going to be tough for these guys if they want to do a no stopper, or if they want to stop without taking tires. Now let's be honest, let's be clear with you. Stopping, it's almost guaranteed to be necessary, but if you get good with your fuel management, you can go the full distance. But you have to be very, very good with you know. I saw someone pointing the wrong direction, and unsurprisingly is Dalle Donne. Let's catch a replay of that. Then we
might just get on the throttle too early coming out of the last corner, you reckon? Oh, we got help. Oh.
Got a little bit of help. But
Yeah.
he had a very, very weird line through that corner, so maybe he caught his opponent off guard. So back to the... Oh, no,
well,
that is not recommended. No, absolutely not. No. I tell you, I know him. He probably was fuming about that. He tried to do too much. I've known him since 2015, so that's probably what happened there. So back to the front of the pack with McNally, McKnight and Caballero all nose to tail. I was saying, just quickly, let's see if McKnight goes for a move. He stays put for the moment. So if you do an extremely good fuel saving, you can get through without pitting. But of course you have to also save the tires. So I think stopping will be... look at that, McKnight and McNally side by side, and for the moment McNally is able to keep the position over a very, very experienced driver like Jamie McKnight, who has been pretty upset after the contact in race 1. So he is looking for a good result in race 2, of course fighting for the championship. Will he go for the move on the inside? So action-packed this race, I cannot even go around and explain the different strategies. It's good this way because we are seeing a lot of great on-track action. For the moment, McNally seems to be able to hold to his 6th position.
Yeah, he's doing a great job of it, isn't he? He's got those characteristic metallic blue wheels that he often sports in the BSR. He's just losing it out to McKnight here, but he's going to keep it around the outside though. He's not giving up. True fighting spirit of a Geordie. It's probably the first time I've not called him Scottish on the street. Oh, it's a real shame. He's going to get caught as well, McKnight. Oh, that's just a proper shame, that is, for McKnight. That's the 2nd time in a race he's had contact that's turned him around. And Caballero as well, I was going to say before, it was the 2nd time we'd seen him actually, let's just say, help someone around at that final corner in 2 races. But that guy right now, the red mist will be descending for Jamie McKnight. Sorry, he's going to be driving the teeth out of that car now, and hopefully not too much dirt on his tyres, no flat spots. But yeah, it's not been his night really. He's been really close racing with people, but he's just been the one that's lost out from the contact. And I think Caballero, he's actually damaged from that, isn't he? I was going to say he's slowing down for it, but yeah, he's got heavily damage for that.
Big suspension damage as Klusterman is in the pits on lap 7. So, very early stop for Tony as Caballero is trying to go around the corkscrew with a very damaged race car. So Klusterman going for the early stop. Hopefully, I think this is a little bit of contact there. And Brandon moves Gardner out of the way and he gets the lead of the race. Foggy follows him through. So Gardner goes from 1st to 3rd in the span of 1 corner, and we have a new leader in Johnny Brandon.
Very aggressive move there. We didn't quite see the build up to it, so I'm not sure how they managed to make contact. I'll have to have a look then. Brandon, he's just... He does go to try to go left to get out of the way, but it just seems like just seems like Gardner broke really, really early there, to be fair. He broke a lot earlier than Brandon did, that's for sure, but Johnny, you can see he just gave it a flick of left lock to try and get away from it, but unfortunately they did make contact. Now it's going to be down to Gardner to chase back up with these guys, see whether he can get past not just Foggy but Brandon as well and regain the race lead. Brandon locking up again in there. Been having issues with that all night. It makes you wonder how it's going to be handling by the end of this race, as we're only just a quarter of the way through.
Yes, we'll see first if Tony's stop was a regular stop, or if it was something else. We'll check on his time as McNally goes out. I think this is the final corner. No, it's the first corner. Oh, it's the corkscrew. Of course, it's the entrance of the corkscrew, and he patiently waits, letting everybody through. The Youth Energy driver trying to get back on the track. He's able to do so, but he lost a lot of positions down to P13. So for the moment, Brandon, Foggy, Gardner and Jackson are staying out. So Jackson up to P4 after starting in the back of the pack. We'll see when these guys will pull the trigger on their stop. If Tony's, I mean, it is a very, very early stop from Tony. You don't need a lot of fuel, of course, like we were saying. You can theoretically go for a no stop. So you can come in early, but I mean, I think Tony Klusterman has to hope that he's able to make his tires go the distance, because all the he's not getting a big advantage right now, because yeah, the tires on his opponent's car are 7-8 laps old. Older than he is, but you don't get that much of a performance difference as he goes through and passes Soiree there, and now I think he's going to that is a lap car, I think, of Bomber, so it's not a pass for position. So very, very surprising strategy from Tony.
Yeah, he might just be trying to get track position, I suppose, but he's lost it. What a save by Klosterman, or has he saved it? Brilliant stuff. That was, well, you don't often save any cars through there. I can't even save an MX-5 getting a little bit out of shape through there. God knows how he managed that. I think he went to go for it, but he just had to slam on the anchors. I think, well, Bowman just caught him out, I think he just broke a bit earlier than he was expecting. And that's a hell of a save by Klosterman. That shows his real skill there. Hopefully he's not, well, you can see from there, he's not lost a massive amount of ground, but he's going to be, well, I'm not sure whether he can be angry at Bowman or not really. I suppose Bowman's just running his own race. He just needs to calm it down and probably make a move where it's a bit safer to do so. In terms of pit stops, he is the only guy to stop at the moment, but I was going to say he's just probably looking for track position. It's not worked out for him so far, though, as we've just seen. He wants to get that clean air and try and get a run on those guys at the front, but yeah, that's definitely not helped his charge, has it?
So Tony, I mean, he must be a little bit upset, because I think the blue flags are waving and waving and waving for Erling. So we'll see if he's able to make the move. Bomber is not showing up signs of moving out of the way, locking the brakes there on the left-hander. So I don't think he's going for a move here. He's learned from his experience, but he is losing valuable time. Tony Klusterman is, so this is going to put it's going to be problematic for his strategy, and I think he's losing a lot of time, and in the end I wouldn't count him out for the race win as he tries to go for the move now, but this is not what he wanted, let's put it this way.
Yeah, definitely not. Nice of Erling to let him through there, that was actually quite cleanly done, so it didn't slow him down much as McKnight comes in then. Oh no! He's done a David Coulthard, and he's hit the wall going into the pit lane. That's a real shame for him. Luckily, it's not in a Formula 1 car and it's not a concrete wall, so it's not quite as fragile. He bounces off the tyre barrier, but I don't think Jamie's going to want to watch this bit back as he goes in then on the brakes. It just doesn't slow it down enough, does he?
Yeah, he is lucky. He is lucky that he gets a fast repair, but once again, he is going to lose valuable time as he comes out of the pit stall right now. And I mean, when you are battling against the likes of Brandon and Foggy and Jackson and Klusterman, you need to avoid leaving seconds on the table. So yeah. That's, I mean, McKnight and Klusterman go for the early stop, and they both get problems. So listen, McKnight is down to P16 right now for different reasons. We'll see if the leaders are on, on the radio with the spotters or teammates, and of course they are teammates as well. So let's see if, knowing this, as Brandon is locking up once again, the front left is going to be pounded. I think when he comes to the pits, he's going to be completely destroyed if he goes on this way. Especially in a racing, it's important not to overheat your tires. So maybe knowing this, these guys can take it a little bit easier and postpone their stop as late as possible. And also it's important to remember we might see the wild card of the non-stopper. So long ways to go, as the XVR teammates are 1 and 2 with Gardner. You see me on the background there in P3, and Jackson and Warmingham rounding up the top 5.
Yeah, these guys just doing a good job at the moment. It's a shame that the lead was sort of decided by contact, really, but Brandon's doing all he needs to do at the moment, locking up again into there. Like you say, that front left is going to be taking a bit of a beating, to say the least. But I think these guys will probably just run it out as late as they can, because at the end of the day, if they're going to sort of keep their lead and kill the tyres a little bit early on. Oh, one of the NQR cars there, just getting out of the way at the last moment. That was
I think Bingham.
Yeah, it was Bingham. Yeah. I was going to say these guys will just sort of drag it out as far as they can, and then they know that if they've got fresh tyres and enough fuel to make it to the end, they'll just go all out in the last few laps. And if they need to gain places back or put time on anybody, then they just can. They've got the ability to over people that'll be on old tyres. There's Brandon again locking up into turn 1. He's making a bit of a habit of it, isn't he?
Yes. Lucky for him that he's got a teammate behind him, and we've seen them race in the past, but of course when you have a teammate right behind you, it's a bit easier, because like I said, 99% they... Oh man, moment there for Brandon, and I think Foggy will go through. Let's see, side by side. They don't want, of course, to have contact with each other, but of course.
Oh no.
I really need to shut up tonight, because I'm saying a lot of wrong stuff and a lot of curses left and right for these drivers. Contact between the teammates, Foggy and Brandon, and they stay in the same positions as they were before. So Brandon in the lead, but Brandon at that moment, a few seconds ago, he was able to keep the position by defending hard on his teammate. Gardner, I think, will close the gap a bit thanks to this battle. Let's see if Brandon goes for the pits, concerned for his tires. No, he stays out, so does Foggy, so does Gardner. Let's see if Jackson heads for the pits. The cars that have already pitted, Klusterman in 7th and McKnight in P15, so a long way back from the lead.
Yeah, it's not a very long pit lane here either, so you don't spend a lot of time in the pits. I think it's not even a minute when you're in there. Again, Brandon locking up. I'm not really sure. I'm going to have words with him after this. I'm not sure what he's doing. But Gardner is closing the gap now. Real shame to see these guys make contact as well, just under a lap ago. And, well, it's not the best thing for teammates to do. I think Brandon made it look like he was letting Foggy through, because he was a lot slower than him. And then it sort of seemed that when he went around the corner, he decided against it. But he was on a slower line because he wasn't there. He was towards the inside line a bit more, wasn't he? And yeah, just a bit of miscommunication maybe. Don't know whether I couldn't understand Nickel, because he's got quite a Scottish accent on him, but it's not that bad.
No, it was a very weird situation. You are absolutely right. Of course, it's always best to avoid contact between teammates. So for now, the status quo remains the same. Brandon and Foggy in first and second position, as we are getting closer and closer to the halfway point of the race. And still, I mean, we are most of the field has yet to pit, so a really contrarian strategy by McKnight and Klusterman. Tony is getting closer and closer to Nikolai Bogatayrev in P6. Then Warmingham is the next target. We are on board with Brandon on the hamburger camera, if I'm not mistaken, and now sitting on his rear end. As you see the effects of the contact that they had before, the front end of Foggy's car is a little bit damaged. Nothing major, of course. These cars can take quite a beating, except for the but that common to all the cars, I think, in the world, the suspension. When you hit with your wheel, maybe with another wheel with the corner of your opponent's car, that's usually going to be a race-ending damage. As Foggy is getting extremely close. You see, I think Chaz is having some smoother lines, I would say, Foggy, coming out of the corners.
Yeah, he's making that Holden. Well, I was just about to say then he's had a bit of a moment there. Actually, it looks. I was saying he's going to make it look that it's a bit easier to drive than that Ford, really, because Brandon looks like he's having to wrestle it around a bit. We've got Bogotyrev in the pits at the moment. It's just coming out of the pit lane as it stands. He's at a 10.37 second pit stop, so a little bit quicker than the likes of Klosterman, but he's going to join back out in 13th place. He's got McKnight coming into turn 1 nearby, but I don't think that McKnight's going to get ahead of him because he's obviously got the wider line around the outside. Yeah, Bogotyrev then 13th place as he comes out in the 555 car. But it is this. It is a very interesting situation between Brandon and Foggy. It's sort of like the teammates that want to battle but shouldn't sort of scenario, isn't it? It's a bit like Hamilton and Rosberg. They want to have a fight with each other, and they probably both want the win. But for the sake of getting a decent team result, they've got to try and not stick their elbows out too much, haven't they?
Yes, you don't want to. I mean, you don't want to go from a possible 1-2 to double retirement or something bad. As Bogotyrev goes very wide, and I think McKnight will profit from this mistake. He does, as other drivers are pitting. Katie Rostaranto is in the pits from the 8th position, as we are on the halfway mark of the race. So I mean, we're getting closer and closer to the pit stops. They can go pretty deep, but of course you want to. If you are going to change tires, you might as well stop around this lap or maybe a little bit later, because then you're going to have equal stints, let's say, or as close to equal stints as you can get, so you can use your fresher tires in the second part of the race. Taranto coming out of the pits, coming out of the pit stall, I have to say, and still in the pit lane, very, 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 very slow. Here comes, I think that was a lapped car. No, that was Frost. I apologize. So seems like oh man.
Not sure whether she had an issue or something there with the throttle pedal, because she was going very slow as she pulled away, and it seemed like the car just wanted to slow down, and then she finally got a foot down and it just went on, and then really not sure what happened, but hopefully that damage not affecting the car too much. Although when she turns right, it seems to want to oversteer. Just have to stick on board for a second and see whether it's lasting damage. That just seems a bit, that's not a happy car, is it?
Not at all, as Buzin is in the pits.
Oh, that car doesn't want to behave. It doesn't want to turn left, and it wants to turn right too eagerly as well. Don't know whether that hit with the wall has damaged the front left, but I really hope it doesn't ruin a race there, because she's been doing a fine job so far. Gained 10 places before she came in the pits as well. It's both Foggy.
Yeah, Foggy has got some problems, I think, because you see he's falling into the clutches of Gardner, and I think I saw his name flashing red, his number flashing red a few seconds ago, so he must have made a mistake. Here it comes, thanks to Sam Kumo on the cameras. Oh no, you don't want to do that. He was lucky to avoid hitting the barriers there, Chaz.
Yeah, definitely. I think he just got two wheels on the dirt as he turned in. As we were saying earlier in the broadcast, it's going to be very easy to do that, as I think that is Taranto going into the pits, unfortunately. Obviously going to try and get that fast repair and get back out. As leaving the pit lane right now, that is Whiting. Oh, that's the number 4 car, that's Adam McNally. And there's
that was Prost, yeah, McNally towed back to the pits immediately to avoid causing problems. Let's see what that, oh man, he was in the pits. Maybe, I
hope he doesn't get caught up with Frost here.
The same mistake, but no, with a little bit more power. So.
Oh no, it is Frost that hits him as well. Yeah. Very difficult cars to get your foot down in these as well, and that's just proved it tonight. We've got 2 people crashing the car coming out of the pits. There's Taranto now coming out as well, which is good to see. I'm glad she's back on the track. Brandon's still leading the way then, commanding this race at the moment. Warmingham is in 5th again. Good result for him so far. Let's hope he can stick at that. And then Jackson's up 17 places at the moment to 4th. Really good drive. He's got quite a bit of clean air around him. He's got 13 seconds either side of him actually, so he's a bit of a lonely race so far for Jackson, but he's doing a fine job.
Yes, I mean, it was looking like he wouldn't be able to race because of his problems, so good for him to have P4. Klusterman is up to P6, and he's, of course, Gardner is in the pits, so the first of the top 3 runners to add into the pit lane is Gardner, so Foggy and Brandon stay out. 24.9 for Brandon, 24.8 for Foggy, almost identical lap times. That mistake for Foggy could be very, very costly come the end of the race. And of course, we also have to, you know, as Wormingham is in as well, and we also have to consider, as we see Tony Klusterman. Tony Klusterman is on the start-finish line right now. You see on the mini-map, whilst the race leaders are just now into the first of the two left-handers that bring you to the corkscrew. It's not a very long pit lane, but it's a very, very tricky pit lane. Let's see if Klusterman is able to come out of the pits near Gardner. Oh, yes, somewhat. I mean, he can see Gardner in front of him, but now, of course, if Gardner changes tires, he's going to be, you know, much, much quicker than him. So, has Jackson now in P3, but with all tires, so Gardner will have to contend with Jackson until Jackson pits. He wants to make a move as quick as possible, or hope that Jackson goes into the pits quickly. Even though I think that is Bingham, so I'm sorry. As Brandon is in the pits.
Yeah, Brandon goes in, Foggy stays out another lap, and we've seen that Foggy's been a little bit quicker over the course of the race, so makes you wonder if Foggy stays out 1 or 2 laps more, whether he might actually jump him in the pit lane if he gets a quick enough stop. Quickest pit stop so far, it seems it's been a conventional one anyway. Anthony Woodward only did 5.7 seconds, whereas Klusterman did 10.9, so not sure whether he's just done a quick splash and dash in that one. Johnny Brandon's pit stop then, he should be coming to an end any second. He's taking 11.5 seconds, so nearly, well, just about half a second more than Tony Klusterman. Oh, that's really close there for Brandon. That was Caballero, I believe. Just getting it all crossed up on the exit. We've seen a couple of people doing that tonight, and because it's over a crest when you come out the pit lane as well, it's really easy to do. Brandon's going to dip a wheel to the dirt there. Really nearly lost it on the exit, so he's going to just get himself composed now and chasing back after Nickel Foggy.
I mean, that was not what Brandon wanted, of course. Now, Cavaliere, I think, is a lap. No, he is a lap down, so he's got blue flags waving. But still, it's never nice, you know, to come out of the pits when you're basically side by side with another car, and you never know how it's going to work, because sometimes the system makes the car transparent. Sometimes, you know, the cars are quite solid and you can have damage and contact. And in all, I mean, it's a distraction regardless. As Gardner, you see, he is trying to profit from this. You know, Brandon goes for the move, but Gardner is very, very quick and is able to close the gap immediately. So Brandon is going to be under pressure. It's going to be very, very tough for him to keep Gardner at bay. A very, very fast driver. Also a veteran of the V8 SCOP, so, you know, I saw a mistake there. One of the, I think that was Klusterman. Yeah, Klusterman had a little bit of a problem. Those worn tires, I think, Chaz, already proving problematic for Tony.
Yeah, they're really going to be getting shot towards this point. I mean, he pitted on lap 7, and that was 14 laps ago now, so he's already done double the amount of laps on these tyres than he's done on the originals. So he's, well, he's going to be struggling towards the end, to be fair. He's got another 11 laps to do on them. As we see then, McKnight really trying to get the power down as best he can to get away from, or to catch up to Wormingham and Woodward there. Only 0.6 of a second really covering these guys here. This is going to be a really intense battle, and McKnight is obviously going to be pretty fired up after his contact earlier in the race, and he's going to want to get these boys dispatched off. We've seen that he's quick all season in that very, very pretty orange and black livery on that Ford there for the Evolution Racing team. Foggy is in the pits as well, just heard, so interesting to see if he comes out ahead of Brandon. Obviously Brandon having the issues on pit exit and having a bit of a longer stop. So here he is then, with Gardner behind him. Jackson's still out there as well. Makes you wonder whether he's going to go all the way in this.
You know, it could be a possibility. No, he's not.
Oh, there we go. I'll say that, and he's in the pits. So if that's a sort of a lesser version of the commentator's curse, isn't it? Really.
You see on the top left of the screen, it's Foggy coming out of the pits.
Oh, that was
Johnny Brandon.
Yeah, Jackson has stayed out. Sorry, that was Frost going into the pit lane.
Oh man, you are right. So, battle for the race lead, virtual race lead. Brandon locking the tires. Foggy is going to stay in front, coming up to the pit, so that the slower stop is going to be the difference right now, and Foggy takes the virtual lead of the race. Of course, we have to see what Jackson is doing, because if he is able to save fuel and save his tires, he's going to be tough to catch. 10 laps to go in this race, so he's going to do a... I mean, if he pulls this off, he's going to be one of the greatest things I've ever seen in this championship, because it's going to... Oh, look at that! McKnight warming up. That was, I think, Woodward as well.
Yep.
In a three-way battle with Frost coming out of the pits several laps down. McKnight is having a very tough race. One of those races that, I mean, if you lose the championship, you look back to this race. If you win the championship, you look back to this race in a different way. One occasion will say, this is where I lost the championship. And if he's lucky, he might say, I fought hard in this race and I scrapped some points here and there, and I was able to win a championship because I didn't give up. But a very, very tough evening for Jamie.
Yeah, it really is, and he's gained, even with the incident before where he lost out and spun around, he gained 13 places so far, so a great drive either way, made even more so by the fact that he did have that incident. You can see the front left locking up there into the corkscrew. Chris Jackson's gained 20 places at the moment, started well at the very back of the grid, and he's gone all the way to the front by just making them tyres last, getting through the incidents, and look at him go. He's out there at the front then. Foggy second, Brandon third. Foggy's going to be happy that he's cleared Brandon. That was Woodward just going off and into the pit lane actually. He's going to make his stop now then. I did say before actually he had a 5 point... Oh, nice little drift there on pit entrance. He gets some style points for that one. But yeah, 5.7 second pit stop he's had before, so I'm not sure whether he just had a quick repair and went back out or what. So see how long this one is as he comes in and gets the car stopped.
On the jack, so he's changing his tires. And here we go, so tires and fuel for Woodward, full service.
9 laps to go as well, so might not have been much fuel, but obviously the tyres take a sort of minimum amount of time to get done anyway. He's just going to come out just outside the top 10 at Surrey, then that goes through in the number 42 ECA Racing Team car. He's going to get ahead of Woodward then, despite Woodward having the thinner line out there. And looking at Jackson's lap times as well, to be fair, he's 1.2 seconds slower than Brandon last time round. Well, about 1.3 seconds slower, with Foggy about 1.4 seconds quicker than him. So he's a little bit slower, although Klosterman's doing 124.4s and Chris Jackson did 124.7 last time. So yeah, he's not really off the pace by much, although he's just disappeared off my screen there.
Oh man, he disappeared on my screen as well. This would be extremely cruel. And really a bad thing, because the race was going to be fantastic with this fight for the end, but he is not appearing.
No, he's not
reappearing. So I mean, I said in the beginning he's been having some hardware issues, and I think this will be the end of his race. And you know, Foggy was pushing hard. He just had the fastest lap of the race, so it was going to go down the wire if Jackson would have been able to make the fuel last. But I think we're not going to be able to witness that battle, because Jackson seems to be out of the race due to a technical problem. That's very, very sad. That was, you know, always a possibility given the problems earlier, but always something that you don't want to happen.
Yeah, I'm keeping my eye on the session. Yeah, he's just disconnected from the session now. It usually takes a bit of time to update and confirm that he's gone, but unfortunately we have had the message that the received throughput has fallen to an unacceptable level, which means that his internet signal has gone in one way or another. That could have been caused by many things, but real shame that for Chris Jackson. What a drive it was already. It's just so cruel, like you say, Marco. It's just, you can't write this sort of stuff. He was on for a really good result either way, no matter what he'd done, because he came through from the back of the pack and he got right up to the front, gained 20 places, and then yeah, he was just trying to make it last, but it's just not working. We're on board with McKnight now, putting a lot of pressure on Warmingham, as it actually looks like Jackson says. I'm actually surprised PC lasted that long. He had a CPU crash on that one, so real issue for Jackson then, but it's just like having a mechanical failure in real life. I suppose it's this part of the sim racing that's not so simulated in that way. If your hardware fails, then it fails, doesn't it? McKnight really sideways trying to chase down Warmingham.
I mean, we don't have random failures because you know it wouldn't be fair. But we already take care of that with our own computers, I think, or you know, steering wheels, etc. When a failure happens or the internet goes down, you have to take it with. You know, I mean, it happens. It's never fun, but it's part of the game. McKnight and Warmingham battling it out as Foggy once again fastest lap of the race. Brandon cannot keep up, 0.3 of a second slower. Gardner is almost 1 full second slower, but he is a bit faster than Tony in P4, and this is the battle for P5 as well. So Warmingham and McKnight will battle it out. McKnight trying to get as many points as possible after the disaster in race 1, as a lap car is in front of them. Going for the inside is Jamie, but Richard Warmingham is able to defend very nicely into the final corner and back to the straight. Lap 26 out of 32 right now, so there's not a lot of time left for these guys if they want to improve their positions.
Oh, that's Warmingham. Is he going to save it? Is he going to save it? Oh, somehow it doesn't rotate all the way. Beautiful drifting there into turn 1 by Richard Warmingham, but ultimately relinquishes the place of McKnight there. Real shame for him, but I suppose that's just the pressure that McKnight puts him under. Just forces him into a mistake, and yeah, well, he's still top of the club standings, of course, but he's gained ever more style points in that one.
Yeah, good for him that you know, the next opponent in Bogatire is quite a few seconds back, so he only lost the one place that I think he was under threat of losing regardless. Oh, look at that McKnight. Not giving up. I mean, he's pushing up, that's for sure.
That was a hairy moment through there then. Normally we see people getting it a bit wrong by clipping that inside curve, but that was a really out of shape Ford Falcon through there. Really pushing hard, like you're saying. He has done since the get-go, and obviously been spurred on by his incident earlier on in the race. He's going to be ragging that car to death, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean, oh, look at that. We have Soiree and Woodward battling it out. This is the tail end of the top 10 with Soiree in 9th and Woodward in 10th position. Woodward side by side coming to the corkscrew. Better line for Soiree. Oh, little bit of a different line there. Oh, but Soiree also inside. I mean, these guys are on the edge. I mean, the pit stop is not helping because in the end they are still pushing extremely hard. The amount of lockups I've seen tonight, Chaz, I mean, I've commentated on a lot of these races now, and I've never seen guys locking up this much in all the rounds I've commentated on.
There's a lot of corners on this track that are quite tricky. I always remember it actually being quite difficult even in something like the MX-5, because there's a lot of corners where you are braking and turning at the same time coming in. It's very much a trail braking circuit because a lot of the corners are very flowing. It's not like sort of a lot of modern F1 tracks where it's just a straight and then a sort of a certain angled corner, then another straight and another angled corner. A lot of them are sort of very gradual corners and they flow really nicely into one another, but that makes it all the more difficult when you're in a car that has no ABS, because you have to be very careful with that throttle pedal. And yeah, that's when the front left, especially on this track, because a lot of left-handers, of course, with it being counterclockwise, it can make a bit of a mess of it and turn it into a rubber 50p.
Good run here for Woodward. He might try for a move again at the corkscrew. He's having better lines than Soiree in this part of the track, but Soiree is able to stay in front, and of course this is not a good passing position, I think. I mean, if you get a move done here, you need to be very brave and have a certain degree of collaboration from your opponent, because otherwise things can turn out quite ugly. And you cannot go for the Zanardi move because I think it's going to be a slowdown on iRacing. So the dirt stuff on the second part of the corner is not available as a racing surface, and I think a problem for Gardner.
Oh, Gardner, yeah, he's around. Not sure whether he's done it on his own. Well, he must have done. There's no one near him as he goes in. Does he just clip the dirt on the outside? Yep. Oh, that's easy to do. That is very easy to do. I've done that in many a series around here. At least he's on the escape road to get it going again. He's just going to make sure he doesn't join in front of that other car there. That's nice, respectful stuff there. But that puts Klusterman up to 3rd place then. Gardner's one who wanted to get straight on after him. He interestingly stated as well before, actually, in the YouTube chat, that he races in the V8 Scop series quite regularly, so he does know this car well, and it's showing with his pace tonight. He's been brilliant, hasn't he?
Yes, absolutely. That, of course, is a mistake that can happen. But he's been very, very quick all night long. Maybe he's able, he pretty much overheated his tires with the tough and the burnout he did to get back into the right direction. But he still has fresher tires than Tony, so he might be able. I mean, it's going to be tough because Tony is very, very fast, but he has several laps old tires, so maybe we are going to see another battle for P3 before the end of the race. 4 laps to go are going to be quite soon, because as you see, Woodward and Soiree battling again. Not over between these guys.
They've got the race leaders behind them as well, so this could spice things up a little bit with these guys battling hard, and then Foggy and Brandon making their way through to lap them. It could either, well, it could help out Woodward here if he's smart enough now to get out of the way of Foggy and Brandon and then try and follow them through when they get past Soiree. Then it could work in his favour quite nicely. Is Brandon there down the inside? Yeah, you can see he's definitely playing that strategy, isn't he? He's getting out of the way nice and early, and he's going to try and follow Brandon through, because then he doesn't have to worry about lap traffic anymore.
Yeah, good move there. Let's see how they approach, because they are going to get Soiree in a very, very tricky part of the track. And we've seen earlier how, but he moves on the left side, so maybe he's letting both of them through. He has got to be very careful. He only lets Foggy by, then he has to do the corner. So this is going to help Nicole for a bit. Now he's letting Johnny Brandon by. Hard braking there. Not a good line for Dominic. For Dominic through the corner. As maybe Birmingham has got a little bit of an issue, because I see his number flash in red. He's still sitting in P6, but he's very, very slow. Luckily, he has a very big cushion on Boga tire, but still, he lost. In P5, he lost another valuable amount of time there. As Gardner is back in the pits. So something must have happened. And once again, Chaz, you talked about this. He was able to save the car, but maybe something else happened, because that car is moving in a weird way.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what happened to it there, why he stopped it, but that was a real hairy moment coming out of the right-hander, and unfortunately that might be the end of his race tonight, with only one more lap to go after this one. Might have been a hardware issue, maybe something with his wheel or pedals. There's a nice big chunk missing out the back of Bogatairo's car there. Looks like someone's just bitten the back end off it. He's got booze in then, putting pressure on him as they go down the hill then. One more lap to go after the one that the race leaders are currently on anyway. And yeah, Gardner is still in the pit lane and dropping down the order. That's a real shame, because once again the commentator's curse strikes. We were just saying how well he's been doing.
Yes, I think he must have hit the wall earlier, like 1 minute before or a few seconds before, and then he noticed that the car wasn't working anymore, so he had to take the tow, because it would have been dangerous if he stayed.
He's just popped up on the YouTube chat. He said he had monitor issues.
Oh wow, this is a very tricky night for hardware issues in the series.
Yeah, not the most desired way to go out of a race, but like I said before, it's the way of the world sort of simulating sort of engine failures or mechanical failures, really, isn't it? I know we can all change down a bit too hard in one of these things or break the gearbox, but obviously something just happening at random like that is, well, it's what happens in real life, isn't it? And it makes it all the more realistic, I suppose, as we've got some cars coming out of the pits there. That's Erling Bomer. He's just going to be, well, he's still a lap down on these guys, isn't he? He's then got Woodward and Whiting behind him now. Hopefully he doesn't hold them up too much, but he seems to be doing just that.
Yeah, he's a very, very tough guy to pass. We saw in the, earlier in the race, as the white flag is in the air. He lost the car. Bomer lost the car. He's able to save it. That was a scary moment. So he gets slapped. Like I said, white flag in the air. Sarela Blanca, as they say around these parts of the world. A little bit down south, I think. As Foggy is having his way tonight. He was able to get the move done on Brandon via the pit stop. A little bit of contact between the teammates, but all in all, a comfortable win. Good strategy for him. We will never know Jackson if he would have been able to finish the race in the lead with this fuel without stopping, but that doesn't matter. It's going to be a parade finish, I think, between the teammates. Foggy and Brandon, 1-2 for XVR Sim Racing. Good job for these guys. And Klusterman, after a very, very contrarian strategy, an early pit stop and some troubles along the way, gets a podium out of this race with McKnight salvaging some valuable points with a decent finish in P4, even though, look at that, he's quite a long way behind. So he's right now coming out of rainy corner. So bad luck in race 1, bad luck in race 2. Then McKnight complicated things for himself by smashing into the wall on pit entrance. But I mean, all considered, P4 in race 2 is quite a good result and is putting on a show for our viewers. He needed this P4 good result for him. So Wormingham should come right behind him, but we have a battle Busin and Bokatairev, and Bokatairev is very, very slow coming out of that corner. So Busin is P6, Bokatairev P7, and almost everyone else is into the has crossed the start finish line, except I think for Frost. Soiree was able,
once again, I'm waiting for him just to cross the line, but yeah, another action-packed race we see. Was that Brandon there, just giving it a bit of a drift through one of the final corners? Obviously celebrating the good results tonight. I'm sure he's gonna. Yep, there he goes. Oh, spins it around. Beautiful stuff though. Doesn't need them rear tyres anymore. So go on, sunshine. Brilliant stuff. Oh, well, nearly contact head on with his teammate Nickel Foggy there, but it's well deserved by XBR. They put a lot of effort into their sim racing since they came on the scene. A couple of drivers from different teams that used to race together before, and as Brandon puts it in the wall. But there's your race 2 winner then, Nickel Foggy. Also, he won the World GT Championship this week as well, so it's been a really good week for him so far. And hopefully, if he's doing any sim racing on Sunday, then you've got to imagine that'll go quite well for him as well.
Yeah, good win and nice celebration for the XVR guys. Here are the race results with Nickel Foggy winning the race 0.2 of a second over Johnny Brandon. 8 seconds back is Tony Klusterman. 4th place for JB McKnight and Richard Wormingham in P5, the first of the club guys, so good job for him. Samuel Busin in 6th and Bokatairev in 7th, then Soiree and Woodward and Whiting to round up the top 9. Look at the amount of guys, one lap down, unbelievable. Jose Caballero is in P11, Peter Bingham is 12th, and Katie Taranto in 13th place. Then Michael Frost and Erling Bomer round up the top 15. Griffin Gardner, bad luck for him. All these guys have had issues of some sorts, including Erling Bomer, the guy right behind him in P15. Glaskov is 17th, Jackson 18th, hardware failure for him. McNally had a problem coming out of the pits, 19th place. Daledon, the pole sitter, had a very, very bad couple of corners and retired in P20. And then Ronald Moons, 21st position. Ronald started, but I think he was involved in that first corner melee, and that was the end of his race. And that's, after this, 3 rounds left. Of course, next time around in 2 weeks, going to be the race that everybody wants to win, Bathurst, the Enduro. But before that, we've got some interviews. So let's bring in Nickel Foggy, the race 2 winner. And here he is, Nickel Foggy, winner of race 2. Nice parade finish. Nice week for you all in all, Nickel. Congratulations.
Hey, what's up, guys? Yeah, thanks. I was trying to drift like Johnny at the end there, but it just wasn't working out.
What did you think about this second race, especially because we knew that strategies were going to be very, very wild and different. We saw some of the faster guys pit very early. You and your teammate had a little bit of a contact midway through the race, but then you pitted quite late, and it proved to be the winning strategy in the end.
Yeah, I didn't really want to pass him there. He made a mistake. I think he hit the gravel. I was just going to stay on the outside, and then I was thinking he was going to go past a lot quicker than he did, so I ended up turning in too early, giving a wee bump in the back, but turned out all right anyway. And yeah, I waited a bit longer than I normally do to pit. I was going to pit halfway, just to get the tires, because I didn't think we'd need tires, but I thought might as well, there's a gap and stuff. So Johnny went first, and I waited a few more laps, because I found normally when I pit about halfway, I get caught in traffic a lot of the time, so I just waited a little longer. It seemed to work out. And then, yeah, Tony went early. I think he got caught up in traffic as well, but unlucky. And Griffin was quite close behind most of the time, I think. I think me and Johnny just ended up having a little bit more pace on him. We had a little change of the tyre pressures, which I think helped a bit compared to the first race.
Yes, and of course, in 2 weeks, it's, I mean, this championship is the most important thing, but when you have a V8 Supercar championship with an endurance race at Bathurst, you absolutely want to win that, I think.
Definitely, man. I can't remember if I raced Bathurst last year or last season. It's going to be quite difficult in the V8s anyway, with quite a lot of undulations and especially those walls. I mean, Bathurst is one of my favorite tracks, but I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be quite difficult, though. I think. We'll hopefully get a decent setup. We seem to have quite a good one today. We made 1 or 2 changes, which, for once, helped rather than made it worse. So that was good. Hopefully, we can find a few things for Bathurst as well.
Thank you very much, Nicole. Before we let you go, is there anybody you'd like to thank?
Yeah, just the Team XVR and Simortal as well. I don't know if you noticed, we've got Simortal on the front of the car now.
Yes.
So, yeah, thanks to them as well.
Okay, thank you and congratulations once again, and catch you in a couple of weeks for Battle.
Thanks, man. I'll catch you soon.
Now we have the Race 1 winner. The Race 1 winner, Tony Krusterman. Hello, Tony.
How you doing, guys?
Doing fine. That was some good racing you guys showed us tonight. And of course, congratulations for the win in Race 1. Race 2, instead, you pitted quite early, and then I think you got stuck in a little bit of traffic, and that in the end I think was the difference between, you know, finishing close to the top guys and, you know, having to settle for third place.
Yeah, the second race, I thought I got some damage in the first few corners there, and thought it was hurting my pace a little bit. So the earliest opportunity was to pit around lap 6 or so, and I tried that, and then, you know, as you say, traffic played a major part into that, and I didn't change tires, so I did the entire race on one set of tires, and maybe that hurt a little bit as well at the end. I don't know.
I don't know if you noticed, but I think that Chris Jackson was going for the no-stopper, something that you talked about in the week. Sadly, we will never know about it because he had a problem, but we saw, apart from that, Griffey Garner, also Seca, Dalle Donne, some new guys that proved to be decently fast today, so it's good, I think, to have new faces in the league.
Yeah, it's always good to have new guys come into the league. I think we had a good turnout today, and obviously when they're quick, it just improves the league as a whole. So, you know, unfortunately for Chris, it was his computer motherboard, I think, failed. It was failing for the last 2 days, and he had issues earlier today as well. So it's unfortunate, but Chris will be in the market for some new computer hardware.
2 weeks time, endurance at Bathurst. I think you are all looking forward to that race.
I think everybody looks forward to Bathurst. It's the best track for this car, and certainly the most famous. And with the Bathurst 6 hours just happening, everybody is pretty hyped up for it.
Thank you, Tony. Before we let you go, you are free to thank your sponsor.
Never Quit Racing, SimAbility, KSW Painting for sponsoring the league, Jamie McKnight and End Mazda for sponsoring this particular round. It's very generous of him to sponsor 2 rounds this year, and obviously you guys for doing a great job on the broadcast. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tony. Have a good night.
Race 1 winner Tony Clouston there. Always a pleasure to speak to, and I believe we also have Johnny Brandon, who we saw as having a bit of a tough night. Johnny, he seems to be locking up quite a lot tonight. That's the first thing I want to address. Were you having any particular issues with the car?
No, I'm just rubbish and hate Laguna Seca.
Well,
It was no particular issues. I tend to lock up quite a lot in this car anyway.
Yeah.
I'd rather that than lock the rears and lose it, because it's ample enough as it is.
certainly is.
Eventually, I did put the bias back, but it was a fun night. I enjoyed that. There was a strange incident with Griffin, I think is his name, Gardner.
Yeah.
So sorry for my part in that if he's listening, but I sort of went clear up the inside, then suddenly he was on top of my car, and I pushed him out of the way. So
yeah, we didn't
I was
quite
going to
catch
let him.
what-
I was going to let him go back past at the end, but he disappeared with a couple of laps to go. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, he had monitor issues in the end. It seems he popped up in the YouTube chat. He had a bit of a hairy moment and then just stopped the car, so we were wondering what had gone on. But apparently monitor issues. There were quite a few hardware issues tonight, it seems. But with the obviously with XVR doing quite well, then does it give you a lot of confidence towards Bathurst? Is that particularly something you're looking forward to?
Yeah, love every track. Love driving this car. Foggy's getting the hang of it now, which is a little bit scary. But yes, it's always great fun in this car and great racing. So it was nice to chase Foggy down. I got caught up in my pit stop on the exit behind a lapped car, and it cost me a bit of time, and I got a bit flustered. Otherwise, it'd been a bit closer. But he deserved that today, Foggy. And Tony was ridiculously fast in the first race as well. So congratulations to them too on the wins. But happy with 2 second places.
Yeah, nice and consistent for your championship, isn't it, I suppose? In terms of, there was one moment as well that sort of caught our eye, and I believe it was the first lap of race 1. Tony got a bit out of shape, and then I think you got a bit out of shape as well, both going in there, and it's somehow, I mean, there was a couple of guys not out of shape, that it didn't turn into a massive incident, but is it sort of hairier on cold tyres, or is it sort of just hairy as it is all the time?
It is hairy all the time, but it is hairier on cold tyres and cold brakes. They tend to snap a bit, so I deliberately put them forward an extra click as well to avoid that issue, because obviously it's downhill. And I don't know what happened, but I had a massive. How I survived, I don't know. But yeah, I thought I was going to be causing all sorts of carnage there, and made it through. Luckily, Tony left me plenty of space as well. I think he saw it happening, and yeah, we managed to get through it.
Well, that's really respectful racing as always, mate, and good to see you getting the results. Is there anyone you want to thank before you go?
Just you guys for the broadcast. Everyone involved in the league. I think West End Mazda are sponsoring this round, so thanks to them.
Yep.
And Simauto have just appeared on our car now and come on board with us, so shout out to them. Have a look at their Facebook page. Worth a look if people don't know. And yeah, all my teammates, congratulations to Tony, congratulations to Foggy. See you next time.
Smashing. Great to speak to you, Johnny. See you at the next one. Good luck.
Thanks, guys. Good night.
Johnny Brandon there, 2 consecutive second places tonight. He's going to be very, very happy with that result. Lots of points for the championship, as we say. And I'm really looking forward to Bathurst, Marco. It's going to be a nice and chaotic race as it usually is. What do you reckon to it?
Yes, and of course, you know, it's an endurance race, so all the points will be on offer in only one race. And there's no do-overs, there's no race 2, race 3 to make up for your mistakes. So these guys will have to be on point, keep their cars clean, and it's never easy, you know, because sometimes at Bathurst, guy in front of you goes into the wall, you have no space. So you have to hope that everybody around you behaves and doesn't make mistakes. And at the end of the day, we will see who is going to be the king of the mountain. It's going to be a fantastic, fantastic race in 2 weeks. Don't miss it, because it's going to be special. So I really can't wait for it. And on that note, I think we are going to say goodnight to you. It's been a pleasure. Marco Barbanera, Chaz Dracot, and Sam Kumo behind the cameras. From Apex Racing TV, we wish you a good night.